The first thing you feel is pain, a deep aching exhaustion that lives in your bones, never fading, never easing. You are awake, but you do not remember sleeping. There is no comfort, no warmth, no moment of peace between one day's suffering and the next. The air is thick with the scent of sweat, damp straw, and unwashed bodies pressed too close together. The room is suffocatingly dark, save for the weak glow of an oil lamp flickering against the cracked stone walls. Rats skitter along the floor, darting between piles of straw, searching for scraps. But you do not move. You do not flinch. You have lived with them for so long that they no longer frighten you. There are worse things than rats. The silence of the early morning is broken by the sharp, commanding voice of the overseer. "Surge, service, get up, slave." The words, spoken with cold authority, are immediately followed by the harsh crack of a whip against the floor, a warning for those who are slow to rise. You do not hesitate. A moment of delay could mean pain, punishment, or worse. You push yourself up from the filthy straw, your muscles stiff, your back aching from the previous day's work. The aches are permanent now, a constant companion, just like the hunger gnawing at your stomach. All around you, other slaves stir, some groaning as they sit up, others moving quickly to avoid the overseer's gaze. You do not speak. No one does. There is nothing to say. Every man here knows his fate. You belong to your master. You are not a person. You are property. The morning meal is as miserable as the last, a chunk of stale barley bread, a bowl of pulse, thick and flavorless, and a sip of pasca, the sour taste of watered-down vinegar burning your throat as you force it down. It is never enough. Your stomach growls in protest, but you ignore it. Hunger is a part of you now, as natural as breathing. The world outside the slave quarters is already awake, filled with life, with voices, with wealth you will never touch. The streets are bustling with merchants, their stalls overflowing with fresh fruits, honey-glazed meats, and steaming loaves of bread. You pass wealthy citizens in their fine tunics and flowing togas, lounging in the shade, sipping wine, laughing, free from worry, free from pain. You keep your head down. To meet the gaze of a Roman citizen uninvited is to invite punishment. You are beneath them. The worksite is already alive with activity when you arrive, and there is no time to rest. The moment you step into the dust and stone, the overseers bark their orders, and the day begins. The weight of the first stone you lift sends fire through your arms. Your shoulders protest, your fingers scream, but you do not stop. The whip is always watching, ready to punish the weak. You work beside the same men every day, though you do not call them friends. There is no friendship in slavery. There is only survival. Cassius, once a soldier, is a giant of a man, his strength sparing others from the heaviest loads when he can. Felix, born into chains, knows nothing of freedom, only obedience. Timon, too old and frail to carry much, works slowly, and you fear that one day soon he will not wake up at all. Not everyone is trusted. There are slaves who whisper to the overseers, hoping for scraps of favor, hoping to escape the worst of the punishment. There are those who hoard food, stealing from the weakest. Desperation makes men cruel. The sun rises higher and the heat becomes unbearable. The work does not slow. You lift stones, mix mortar, carry bricks, dig trenches. The dust clings to your skin, filling your throat, making every breath feel like choking. You watch men stumble under the weight of their burdens, and when they do, the overseers are quick to remind them that failure is not tolerated. A lash to the back, a kick to the ribs, a body dragged away. No one asks where. At midday, a brief moment of rest, not for your sake, but to keep you from dying before the work is finished. Another bowl of pulse, another sip of water. You sit on the hot ground, sweat dripping from your brow, your limbs shaking. You watch flies settle on the wounds of a man who was whipped earlier, his tunic stained with blood. No one helps him. No one speaks. The afternoon is worse. The sun feels heavier, the air thicker. You lift another stone, the pain in your arms now a dull, constant agony. Your back is slick with sweat, your mouth dry, your legs trembling. You want to stop, but you can't. A man collapses nearby. He does not get back up. 2 other slaves are ordered to drag him away, his body limp. You do not look at his face. There is no point in remembering him. The work continues. It always continues. By the time the sun begins to set, you can barely stand, but there is still more to do. The tools must be cleaned, the work site must be prepared for tomorrow. Only when everything is in its place are you finally marched back to the slave quarters. The streets of Rome are alive with music and laughter, with the smell of roasted meat and spiced wine, with the golden glow of oil lamps flickering through villa windows. You pass by nobles reclining on couches, their fingers dipped in honey, their bellies full. They do not see you. They never do. Back in the darkness of the slave quarters, there is no celebration, no feast, just more barley bread, another bowl of pulse, another sip of sour pasca. You eat in silence. Some men eat quickly and fall into exhausted sleep. Others lie awake, staring at nothing, their eyes hollow, their thoughts locked away where no one can reach them. You lower yourself onto your pile of straw, feeling its rough texture against your skin. The night is not quiet. There are whispers in the dark, some men praying, some men crying, some making silent promises to themselves that they know they cannot keep. You do not think of escape. You do not dream of freedom. There is no hope in Rome. Your body aches, your stomach is never truly full, your spirit is nothing more than an ember barely flickering in the wind. But you know that when morning comes, you will rise again, because you must. And if you do not wake at all, then perhaps for the first time you will finally be free.